I always thought I was a clean eater. I wash my hands before every meal. I make sure I eat on clean plates. When I use a cutting board, I scrub it after. If I drop something on the floor, I don't believe in the 5 second rule. I don't pick it up. I don't eat it. I thought I was clean. But not according to Gwyneth Paltrow, that icon of nutritional wisdom. If we go by her ideas in this book, I'm really not clean. Why not? Well, let me tell you. I have some pickled rutabagas here. I think that would be okay with her. But then I transition to my salad. And this has strawberries, which are not organic. I don't care if they're organic or not. Have some tomatoes in there. That's not allowed by Gwyneth because it's a nightshade vegetable. Peppers in here also are not good. And feta cheese, because it's dairy. So that would not be conducive to clean eating. I think it's pretty healthy. And then I would pick up my sandwich. That's a real no-no for Gwyneth and her ilk because it's made with wheat and that contains gluten. Never mind the fact that this is a whole grain sourdough bread, which most nutritional authorities think is perfectly good to eat. It gives us a lot of fiber, gives us a number of vitamins. Neither would she go for the fact that I have a slice of cold cut in there, because red meat, that's a nutritional criminal. Why? Well, she's not really sure why, but she doesn't want any red meat. I also have some cheese in here. That's dairy. That would not be conducive to clean eating. And furthermore, it might contain genetically modified components, the dreaded GMOs, because chymosin, which is used to make cheese, is genetically modified. So that is her version of clean eating. I don't think there's anything wrong with the recipes in her book. They feature a lot of fruits, they feature a lot of vegetables, you get your quinoa, but there is no wheat, there's no dairy, there's no hamburger of any kind. I think she has a few poultry recipes in there. So I'm not really objecting to the diet. I do object, however, to the cleanses that are present in the book. And it's not only Gwyneth Paltrow, there are many others like that. There are cleanses in there that detoxify the body. Oh, she talks about a cleanse to combat adrenal fatigue, a condition that does not exist, or to combat candida yeast infections, another kind of disreputable diagnosis. And all of this, I think, leads to a condition that has been called orthorexia, which is an obsessive trial to eat clean. Of course, the eating clean varies depending on which book you eat. But in general, they don't want any red meat, they don't want any gluten, they don't want grains, they don't want anything that is processed. Well, I agree with some of that. I don't think that we should feature a lot of processed foods in our diet, but it also depends on what kind of processing you're talking about. Frozen foods are processed. I mean, frozen vegetables are in some cases even more nutritious than fresh. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I worry that people are becoming obsessed with what is healthy to eat and what is not. And if something is processed, they automatically stay away from it. Well, depends on what. For example, I don't think that Gwyneth would want to eat any processed earthworm jerky. But you know what? I look at the ingredients. It's high in protein. There's very little salt in it. I don't see any reason not to occasionally indulge in that. Probably not the most appetizing for you. But you know what? It's interesting little taste. There's no harm in it. So one has to be careful about who you listen to and who not. And I'm not worried about my non-organic strawberries. I'm not worried about the small amount of red meat in my cold cut. I'm not worried about the dairy. I'm not worried about the grains. I think this is clean enough for me.